Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel. What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Listen, come in, drop 90s in the chat. Look, Statly done started it off. Drop the 90s in the chat. Drop your city and state in the chat. I really want y'all to understand what's going on out here. So let me kick this into. You see the links up here. It's Freedom Friday. What's up? Happy Friday to you guys. Top 40 certifications book number 2 is right there. You get that link. The 5-day challenge, digital marketing, digital advertising. You guys should see a picture here pretty soon. I'm holding up a bunch of plaques that I've won from multiple affiliate marketing things. You guys are going to love it. 4 roofing contracts. Just all right. Congratulations, man. That's how we do it. Middleman to millions. Let's get that money. Okay. And so this right here, click that link, learn, launch, lead, Digital Liberty Warrior School Group right there. I think this weekend training's on, is it on podcast or is it on creating courses? I can't remember, you guys. I have to go back and look. But last week we did Facebook ads, and we will be doing another Facebook ad training, but not this weekend. It will not be this weekend because we have some podcasts lined up for Saturday. I'm getting ready to go to sauna, so let me get this done. I keep trying. I hope I leave enough breadcrumbs for y'all to figure out when I talk about pivoting on this channel, changing direction, changing things I'm doing, and why I talk about it's going back to 90s. And I think y'all understood. To me, COVID-19 reset when you saw like 900,000 people get laid off in December of 2020, and it was all women. I was like, yep, we're going back to the 90s. And I was keep telling people, and people tell me stuff like, in the 90s, we had these jobs were everywhere. It was affordable housing, yada, yada, yada. And I kind of laugh because I just think people were in a daze, rose-colored glasses of a time that's gone before. But let's really get into it. Let's really get into it. What you're gonna see, and what I mean, we're gonna dissect somebody's. We're gonna dissect a video, and that's basically this whole video is gonna be just dissecting it. But this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see blue-collar guys make crazy bank and live like the 90s. You're going to see blue-collar guys with big old trucks and nice houses. Their wife stay home or she helped with the biz. You're going to see that again, right? All these years they've been talking about blue-collar people. I'm telling you, you're going to see this rise of blue-collar men in nice neighborhoods. When I get back and I go to Manor, I got to re-record some parts of the video. There's nothing but a bunch of work trucks everywhere. And those are the people who bought homes. They're not renting homes. They're buying homes. So you got work trucks everywhere, right? These guys are the ones who fix things, and they're going to make money. They're going to have a very robust 5 years of just fixing things, making money. And you're going to see the people that are tied to them, if they are smart enough to not just buy trucks and goof off on vacations, they'll have nice homes, they'll have nice stuff. And you're going to be like, what happened? Right? There was a guy, he was ahead of his time saying it, but he was talking about how farmers and blue-collar guys were going to be driving Lambos. And everybody laughed, and they're like, oh, you're goofy. He's in China with his wife. Very young wife and his 2 daughters. Trying to think of that guy's name. He's a multi-billionaire. Got his name just that quick. But long story short, when he said that, it resonated with me because I was like, farming, the more land you buy up and turn into subdivisions, the farm people that have land left are more valuable. Even if you have 5 acres, 10 acres, the government's giving you loans to buy 5, 10 acres. You can grow so much on 5 to 10 acres. It's ridiculous. That's why when I see people back in the 80s with 40 acres, I was like, they were balling. They didn't need hundreds of acres of land. That's the big lie. When people think they were going to be big cattlemen with 40 acres of land, that's not true. Could they grow monstrous numbers of crops? Yes, but not cattle. So you're going to see a company you're going to see that really blows up. Jim Rogers, thank you so much. You know who I was talking about immediately. And he was just ahead of his time saying it, but he's spot on now, right? He just was 10 years early, right? And sometimes you can predict the future, but you can't predict the timing, right? Unless you can't time the markets, you can't time a lot of stuff. And one of the big things you're going to see is mold. I'm telling y'all, when they're talking about Wi-Fi agitates and grows mold, which there's a whole connection there that I'm not, I haven't read the research enough to understand what scientists are saying about that. But think about all our homes now. We've got wireless meters. We've got Wi-Fi routers in our bedroom, Wi-Fi routers downstairs, one for the upstairs for the kids. We've got Wi-Fi going on everything. We got Wi-Fi everything. We got Wi-Fi everything going on in our houses. So if there was a mold problem, it's going to even get worse, right? Then also recess lights. A lot of people are building the recess lights into the kitchen areas. Connecting that air from the attic and upstairs that's not properly insulated to the edge right there makes a ton of mold. If y'all can see all the handyman videos, one of y'all sent me on recess lights in people's houses. It was insane. And you know what we're going to go back to? Regular hang down lights. I promise you, like when I talk about go back to the 90s, you're starting to see all those millennials that had the plain white and gray houses. They're putting the colors back on the walls. They're making blues and reds and greens. And I just told somebody, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't go crazy with that, because I'm like, you need color. I'm painting my office a blue-green, right? I'm painting the washer where we wash our clothes. I'm going to paint it like this golden color, right? Like golden services. But it's a running joke for me, because I wash a lot of clothes separately, and I can't use really heavy chemicals. It makes my skin go crazy. And so I'm going to paint it gold. So like there's these colors. It's a very colorful house. Like most parts are going to be very neutral color, but there's going to be parts of the house that have a lot of color. And that's because that's coming back. That's the 90s and it's coming back, right? Okay. Now, what are two other businesses that are like booming like crazy? Flea markets. Thrifting, right? Goodwill profits last year, what they project for this year is $9 billion. They made $5 billion during COVID. Why? Because people, didn't want to touch other people's clothes, other people's stuff. They didn't know how germs moved around, but they making $9 billion. And that's because people are what? Flea markets, thrifting, buying vintage clothes, reselling them, all that stuff. They even have a marketplace. Goodwill something online has a whole marketplace where you can literally go and click and buy an auction. It's crazy. Okay. So they're making money hand over fist. True crime stories. There is I still got it pulled up. So I don't know if I have friends, they'll get in the car with me, and we were on a road trip, and these girls were talking about, like, did you hear this? And they're talking about these like 48-hour shows that I'm just like, I don't watch that mess. My mom watches it. I know a lot of women who watch all these crime stories. Why? Because the average person's life is kind of boring. They get up, they take their kids to school, they make dinner, they do it on repeat. This is called Crime Junkie. She made $45 million last year. Her podcast made $45 million last year. This is why when people are like, oh, these podcasters. If you're talking about something of sense, not some goofy mess, some women's mess, you'll actually make some money. You'll actually have sponsors. You'll actually have 50, 70 pages of sponsors. Look at all these sponsors she got. I can keep going and going. Look at all these freaking sponsors. More sponsors, other sponsors, identity finders. You know what I mean? It gets crazy. So, what's happening in the true crime space is there's so many stories. Like Nancy Grace was the original. Let's give Nancy Grace her credit for a minute, because Nancy Grace with that crazy hair, she milked it for a good while. You know what I'm saying? She's still on TV somewhere. Let me see. Nancy Grace has got a podcast too. She's 65 years old. Boy, God, hair is still the same. Let me show y'all Nancy. Nancy Grace. Mom of twins, wife, daughter, Nancy Grace. Okay. She had them babies old. Okay, I'm sorry. God gracious, good gracious, Nancy Grace. Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all this. This is Nancy Grace, of course. I just wanted to give her props for real quick, because she kicked off that trend of like, what's happening to people? So that's Nancy with her kids. Good Lord, she got a giant son. Daughter didn't get no giant genes. That's a damn shame. Okay. This is how she looks now.
Torpedo. Let me rephrase that. A stink bomb has just been dropped in Brian Koberger's quadruple murder trial. 3 unknown DNA contributors found under the nails of Maddie Mogen.
Okay, so she still talks like that. Again, this is, I don't know how old these kids are, but this is back in the day picture of them. But Nancy with that hair, she cracks me up. Anyway, long story short, Nancy Grace still doing what Nancy Grace does, still wearing the crazy hair. Wait, these kids better not be little. Wait a minute. This old picture. Okay, I'm about to say, nah, Nancy old now. She had no kids at least 44, 45 or 44. I think Nancy Grace had her kid at 45 or something like that. Anyway, long story short, that's Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace was the original on that. It made TV ratings go crazy. Megyn Kelly, she want to make some money. Yeah, she gonna make it. It's a lot of money because so many families' stories go unheard. Right? We're gonna hear the Casey Anthony story today. We're gonna hear the O.J. Simpson case today. We're gonna hear the blonde girl that went missing. But what about the 18 people bodies they found when they went looking for this one girl and found all these other people's bodies? Right? You have thousands of Black, white, Latino, everybody go missing a year. And she should be for forever. Apparently Casey Anthony goes to a bar where she lives and people will throw stuff. When they figure out it's her, they throw stuff at her. And I'm like, I love that. I want no peace for her. I want no peace ever for her or her whole family. I want every time she goes somewhere, somebody throw a lemon at her head in a bar. That's what I'm talking about. That's real American justice. All right. So what happens is there's a lot of money in that. So again, you go watch all those channels, 48 hours and cold case files. And I mean, there's a space for it. So the girl that's the crime junkie, she actually lives in Indiana. It makes $45 million a year. In Indiana, she's the king of Indiana, okay? Because there ain't nothing going on there but the basketball. All right, so let me go ahead and hit this. We're 12 minutes in. Okay, let me get to where I was trying to go with this. And I wanted y'all to get it from a real estate perspective. I talk about it in business. Like, prime example today, Marco Russell, yesterday, I commented on it. He was saying, and before I go into this video, he was like, oh, I'm not seeing as many events. Now, yes, we can say on one hand, we don't see as many events because there is a recession. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Okay, we keep changing the definition of the recession. We changed it while Biden was in office, and we're getting ready to change it back because now Trump's in office. And I know you're like, Erica, stop being political. No, it's the truth. Like the definition of two. Anyway, let me calm down. Long story short, we were in a recession. I don't care what they say. October 2022, look back years later, they're going to go back and say, yeah, we were in one. Now we're coming out of it. That's what they're going to do. They're going to play oh, we were in one. Now we out. And you'll be like, so you just gaslighted everybody to think they were crazy. No, we're not crazy. Restaurants closing, places are filing for bankruptcy. Money is tight, except for people who make over $250,000 a year. Except for people who make $90,000 a year, are the people out in the restaurant spending money. Come on, like, let's do the math. If every restaurant is only like the skilled, that's the true middle class in this country, right? The truly skilled people who can afford, it's Friday, let's go. Who cares? Let's go eat wherever. That's the truly skilled. All right. That's the nurses, the doctors, the dentists. That's the people who have the money in their pocket. Let's be for real. All right. That's the problem. No one wants to address the dragon in the room. Like, yeah. There's so much I could go left with, but I'll be careful. The whole United States infrastructure is outdated, so they're going to need blue collar workers to rebuild. And that's part of it too, right? A lot of the infrastructure is new in some places. It's just not up to par, right? North Carolina had like 1,000 bridges that had an F&D rating. Well, of course, the storm comes through and tears up half the mountains, and a lot of the deregulated buildings and bridges were up there. So they had to come back and refix them anyway. It's going to be a part of the budget. And every year they keep going and giving y'all these, every year they keep trying to give y'all these, oh, we need another infrastructure bill. And it's full of pork, right? It's ridiculous every single time. But that's what you'll see for the next 50 years. But this is why I want to play this interview, because this is really pivotal. Because Who does fix and flips the most? It's us. It's us and Latinos. We're trying to fix the hood. We're fixing hoods and gentrification the hood. And then other people move in. Right? I'm telling y'all, when I talk about home ownership and I talk about owning land like this, I'm calling it Land Grab 2025. You'll see it when the book comes out. You'll see it. It's part of the whole upgrade bundle or whatever, but you'll see it. And I'm letting y'all know it's about to go down and you're not ready because you're saying, oh, houses are too expensive. I don't care. I'm not watching houses. I just talked to a mortgage broker. I would love to interview him, but he might not do it. And he was saying, Erica, do you know how many people give up when I tell them about the scores? They don't ask me, what can I do? Do you know anybody? Can I fix it? Can I do this? And I said, that's the realtor's job, right? That's your mortgage broker's job. Do you have any suggestions? Could you suggest anything? Now, it's a conflict of interest if you're a real estate agent to give somebody a credit cleaning person. I don't want to step on my toes, but it's actually against the rules if you're actually a licensed real estate agent to give people a credit cleaning person. And so many people run around saying, oh yeah, my real estate agent did this. And I'm like, you're trying to get your real estate agent jammed up. Stop it. Stop running your goofy mouths online. My real estate agent did this. It's like, no, you goofy. But that's how lowly informed, I'm not going to say educated, lowly informed people are that they don't know that sometimes people are bending the rules to help them and they're out here telling on them. So the mortgage broker we had this whole 30-minute conversation about how people just give up and how he's sitting there with companies and builders who are like, I'll give them $15,000 down. I'll help them close. I'll do whatever. And he's like, people don't even inquire like, well, maybe if I do this, or can I get 10 more points up and I can get a conventional loan? He's like, they just give up and disappear. He's like, we get hundreds of calls and they just give up. And I go, do you follow up? He's like, well, now we follow up. But years before when we were, booming, let's just be honest, when they were booming early 2020, they weren't following up with people. Now his whole mortgage company is making everybody go back and call thousands of numbers, even people who talked to them in 2021. And I was like, you got these people that you haven't followed back up with since 2021. They've either bought another house or they convinced themselves to just be renters, or they went and bought a new car with their goofy self. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they did. They didn't sit around and wait for you to call them back. Let me go on. Let me get into this video. And I'm going to see if he'll come on the channel and we'll do a better breakdown. But as of now, we're, again, fair use. We're going to be interrupting this video multiple times. So brace yourself. Here's why I'm selling all my real estate. Now, this is what happens when you play Monopoly. Same with Ben Mala. You can't, people brag real heavy. Oh, I got 30, 40, 50 rentals. Erica, I got all these rentals. And you ask them, they're all in Detroit. They're all in Ohio. They're all in like West Virginia. They're all in the hood somewhere. They're cheaply bought, cheaply fixed, in the hood, right? I just had to resurface the tub on one of my units for like $380. And I was like, oh my God. They're like, do you want a new tub? I'm like, no, resurface it. So you have this people bragging, and then they realize why we do the barbell method. And I've talked about the barbell method a bunch here. I will talk about it even more after the book release. But essentially, you're supposed to balance. You're supposed to have some D's, some C's on one hand, some rough in the hood. But you're supposed to go over here and get some high quality A, B's. You're supposed to get some commercial. You're supposed to get a barbershop. You're supposed to get a couple different things to kind of get your portfolio balance. So if something hits the town and it only hits the poor people, okay, you took a hit, but you didn't destroy, right? The other day we had Dion on, and he's got 1/3 Section 8, 1/3 military, 1/3 regular folks. You're supposed to balance it out so you aren't devastated. But people don't always do that. Sometimes they get in a growth game and until they realize that's not going to be the game to play. So here we go. Let's go.
I ever had in real estate as far as losing money. Excuse me. I lost in, I'm talking Section 8. I'm talking veteran housing. I'm talking regular tenants that were paying. People lost a lot of jobs and they played with the system. I lost roughly probably about, I'm going to keep it real, maybe about almost $100,000 off of real estate. Wow. Right? Because that comes from you having people play with the system.
Yeah.
People knew that, and they say landlord-friendly states. That didn't mean anything because the judge can give an eviction, but you need the sheriff to serve them. So I said, you know what? The areas are really going down.
Any place that has you do an eviction, but the sheriff has to serve them is not landlord friendly. Parts of Texas lets the sheriff serve them. Other parts of Texas, you can hire companies to come and go, get up out of here. Let me finish.
Even though the property value was going up in these areas, the tenant quality is going down. Tenants are losing jobs. People are losing jobs. AI is just literally getting rid of jobs. So my thing was, I sold them because I realized areas that's heavily dependent on Uber drivers, cashiers, factory workers, like manual labor people, those are the people losing jobs. And I said, I don't want no parts of it. That made sense for me to sell those. And now I went on to buy properties that are multi-units, 20, 30 units, buying properties internationally, properties in Thailand, Bali, Dominican Republic, places like that, because that's the shift. So you got to understand and know when to pivot. Areas, I want everybody to look in your communities and think about this.
Pause. First of all, you never want a heavily international portfolio. Like you need a balance because you don't have any dominance. If you got something in the Dominican Republic, then you jumped over, put something in Panama, then you jumped over, put something in Belize, then you jumped over, put something in Portugal. And if anything goes left in that country, you just lose because you only got like one leg in that country. You only got one little bit in that country. There's several people I could talk to y'all about, but long story short, you want to try to stack up 2, 3 in one country because the people, when they deal with you differently. It's with anywhere, right? You want 2, 3, or I always tell people if I had to be back in the mountain part of Panama, I would have a transportation business. I'd have a transportation business on top of 2 or 3 rentals. So then it's like, oh no, she in the town for real. Even if I ain't there, it's bad business to try to mess over people that have real legs in the town. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of these people are like, I'm gonna jump up and buy something in Belize and Panama and over. Yeah, but you need to have legs in town. People need to feel like, oh, I better not play with her. But that's another conversation. Let's keep it moving.
I said this before. We're going back to the 90s, bro. If you look at in LA, Figueroa, and in Brooklyn, we got women back on the street selling their bodies, bro. Like out there in the street in broad daylight. You got drugs. You got job loss. Yeah. And I'm looking going, how are people not able to eat and they homeless, but right up the block, there's a $20 million development. There's a $3 million building. There's a $1.7 million brownstone, all this, but you got the drugs. That's 90s. You got the women back out selling their bodies. That's 90s.
All right, boom, pause. Let me go ahead and hit you. Let me just tell you like this. I see the women walking in Dallas and in Houston. I saw something down in East Austin the other week. When you drop illegal immigrants into the country, I'm gonna go here for a second. When you drop a lot of illegals into the country, they ain't using the internet like that. It's got to be in Spanish for them to use the internet like that for some of them. They are picking the women up where they would usually pick them up. Where? The streets. You have a lot of Latino blue collar big old trucks I see driving in certain areas. I'm like, what you doing over here? What you doing with the work van over here? Sir, get that work van from over here. Now, you might have the discreet gentleman who goes online and, oh, hello, meet me at the hotel, whatever, right? But there's a lot of people that are just picking up people when they see them somewhere. And you have trafficking. So this is why when the government's like, we're against childhood trafficking, we're stopping the trafficking. Okay. Are they stopping the trafficking? Are they really? Are police really worried about the trafficking? Now, if we get another serial, which we have serial murders all over the United States right now, you just never hear about it in the news. You'll get some of that cleaned up. But yeah, you literally have that. Bissonnet, if you know. Yeah. You in Houston, you're like, girl, It's 50 degrees out here. I'm in Texas. I've been in Texas long enough to be like, I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas and I'm freezing to death, and it was 67 degrees. So it was 50 degrees, and we driving by and seeing this girl out here in booty cootie shorts. And you like, honey, what you doing? Why you got knee-high boots on and booty cutter shorts on at 50 degrees? If you live in Texas, at 67 degrees, we're freezing. Like, I was literally like, where's a sweater? Like, South by South West people were laughing because they were from New York and they were wearing like short sleeves. They're like, this feels great out here. We were in Texas going, we're freezing to death. It's 67 degrees. We're freezing. I knew who was in Texas just because I looked in the crowd and could see the sweaters. I'm like, you live here, you live here, you live here. Cowboy hat with a sweater? Yeah, you live here. Everybody else out there in short sleeves, I was like, you're from New York? Yeah, I'm from New York. How'd you know? You out here in damn short sleeves like this is hot. That's how I know. That's how I know. What do you mean? That's how I know. So I've seen this personally, been bothered by it, but I've been trying to tell y'all through hints, like, we're going back to the 90s, right? There's going to be a diverge of people who they live in the suburbs, they're doing good, you know? Then you'll have those neighborhoods where it's a working class neighborhood, like literally working, like 6-7 cars in the yard because everybody had to move back in with grandma, right? Unfortunately, I just had a friend whose father passed. His grandmother is in better health than the father was in Atlanta, right? The grandma's 90 years old, eating vegetables, has a garden, walking around. Son passed away. Grandchildren like, man, grandma, what's the secret? Grandma eat real food, takes care of herself. Y'all, I'm gonna show y'all a picture of my garden in about 2 months. Y'all gonna be hating. Y'all gonna be jealous. Facts. Mexicans will trick off on a prostitute. I can't. I can't. Okay. One of the craziest stories that I ever heard was the dude in New York. I don't know if y'all remember this. He was Latino and he got injured at work and he won like $1 million. And the lawyer was like, look, man, we can't give you this 600,000. Please, we can't give you this 600,000. You know, just keep some of it in the bank. He ended up taking like $150,000 or $200,000 and called the hotline and was like, I need 3 women and I'm willing to pay whatever. I got cash. And guess what? Them 3 women came from whatever that hotline number he called, and 3 dudes came behind him and beat him up and took all the money. And the bank, the lawyer was like, please don't take 200,000 cash out of the bank. Please don't do it. Please, we're begging you, right? Then he goes to the bank. The bank's like, sir, can we give it to you in a cashier's check? No, I need cash. I want cash. It was a Latino man, a little short Latino man. He wanted to be in that room, tricking off, throwing money on them girls, and then them girls leave and go and not hurt him. In Brooklyn, look it up. It's a whole news story. Like, in the family, they went, because there's nothing but like 100,000 left. And that's just because the bank wouldn't give it to him. They asked the wife, like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Are you hoping they get caught? And she just like, oh, what can she do? He just lost $200,000 because he wanted to go in a hotel room and trick. It's like one of the most famous news stories. If you guys go look it up, their lawyer was just like, what do you want me to do? Like, we did everything we could to stop him. We offered to put in a trust. We offered to give him family money. So imagine your man lose $200,000 and y'all ain't got nothing to show for it. And she gonna take them back. It's Latino culture. She gonna take them back because what she gonna do? Somebody got to work and pay them bills. That story to this day, I know she wanted to F that man up. That's all I'm saying. The internet is the new blade and dating is monetized. Unfortunately, I think we have a lot of young ladies who, if you could hear some of the stories I've heard of foster care parents who are like, they're like, oh my God, what happened to you at the previous house? So, man, yeah, I saw that. I saw the elderly woman in Las Vegas. Miss Jess, that's the one you're talking about? I saw that. That was sad. I was like, man, she's too old for that. But I'm going to say she was flexible, but she was. Financially, this is our 90s moment. Cutting edge technology, AI, new ways to do old business. It's going to be the haves and have-nots. Thank you, Josiah. My oldest nephew name is Josiah. I'm telling, our family got crazy with the J's. I'm telling you, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of blue collar guys living in suburbs, living nice because they make money on the same kind of level, not necessarily exactly, but the same level as the tech people. Yeah. I'm telling you, listen, it's crazy. It's real dangerous out here. Dave, they laughing. All right, let me finish this. I'm sorry. I don't mean to drag y'all lunch out.
You got the job loss. That's the 90s. But then again, you got this thing digital.
Yeah.
Crypto, all this stock, all this money all around.
Yeah.
The difference between that and the 90s, back the 90s, it was the dot-com boom area. Everybody was getting money. We was able to get money. See, now here's the same space, the same time. And I want y'all to look at these podcasts and other shows too, which I don't knock them. Yeah. But here's the thing. What do you see most? Prize picks,
Facts.
DraftKings. When
Yes.
a community of people are in a decline, you start seeing promotion of drugs and gambling and alcohol.
This is the biggest thing I'm telling y'all about. Fair use again on the video. What I'm telling y'all about Texas. The reason when you talk to Texans, oh, we don't need that gambling here. It'll be like Las Vegas. There'll be drunk crime and drugs in the streets. When you talk to them, that's how they talk about it. And you got to see Jamie Foxx was promoting some kind of gambling app. All these celebrities are promoting gambling apps. It's something to be said when you see people are pushed to distractions, right? They just called, and listen, y'all know I'm diehard for University of Texas while I'm here. University of Texas, every single girls sports team is winning. They're at the top. They've recruited the best. The girls are probably going to win it all this year. We'll see. We got to beat South Carolina. We keep getting whooped by South Carolina. It's just, I don't know what's the problem here. But what you'll see is the gambling. They just caught 3 people on staff, one that worked with the women's tennis, 2 UT football players that got caught gambling. And so one of them's off the team. The rest of the whole team had to get a lecture and training on about gambling. This is crazy, y'all. Like who's risking that NLL money to gamble? Somebody who's addicted. Gambling shops, yeah, they're getting the Middle Eastern people because that's haram. That's haram. I haven't, but I believe it. Yeah. They're going to bring the casinos in. They're going to bring the liquor in. So y'all can be real chill.
So they coming for us. And I said, you know what? I'm getting out of that space, B, because I already know the problem of what's going to happen with real estate. Look, I'm not telling nobody not to get in real estate. What I'm telling you is buy in high quality areas where you're going to spend a lot more for a property, but get a lot better tenant, and you're going to pay more rent. But the objective is corporations is taking over the real estate space. And I'm not going to be too long-winded, but I want to try to have people understand.
Yeah.
It's just like when gold, people were able to go out, dig for gold, go get gold, and then have money. But then corporations and the government stepped in and said, we're going to take your gold, and now we're going to give you paper tender. They control the gold. Just like oil. Used to be able to get some land, they would go dig for oil, find oil, and now their family had wealth. But who stepped in? Corporations and said, no, we got the oil. Now, real estate's the same thing. Corporations come in and said, nope, we buying up everything. And we're going to make sure you can't afford it. They buying it all up at a price that they know in the future they're going to make money. If you look at all these high-rise buildings going up, they say for lease. Ain't nobody selling nothing no more. They locking it in like a commodity, like gold, oil, and real estate. Going to be 3 things you're not going to be able to touch. You're going to be better off investing in REITs, real estate investment trusts, because real estate is going to be something unobtainable for this younger generation coming in.
And so I want to touch on that a little bit, though, because it's making a whole lot of sense. And I just want to clarify for what.
Sorry, I had to cut him in the middle of his sentence, but I want y'all to really understand when I talk about this stuff, here in Austin, you could have a property, flip it, which means you just bought it, you just made some different, you cleaned up the kitchen, it's still ugly to me, most of them. And there were literally BlackRock and hedge funds. I'm not gonna say BlackRock because I don't want to get in trouble, but hedge funds, there was a list of them who were buying directly here in Austin. And if you had one, you just had to call. There's 3 or 4 guys here in town. I'm not gonna say their name. You call them, hey man, I got this property, it's real high end. Could you make a call? Could you see if they'd be interested? And they were funneling directly to hedge funds. There's one guy here. They kept saying, how do you fund all these flips? And I'm like, he was selling to hedge funds directly. Who's the next group of people here in Austin that buy up big time? Asians. But let me tell you the difference. If you in Houston, the Vietnamese people is rocking heavy with us. And when I say us, I mean this color. What they doing is a lot of the black guys are buying, flipping. It's not selling fast enough. Vietnamese folks are the hard money. If you know, you know. If you've been to some of the events I've been to and I seen you there, you know what I'm talking about. The Vietnamese people are the money because they have the nail shops, they have some stores, but they don't get into the real estate. They just focus on what they do best. The nail salon, the corner stores they have, and the food restaurants that are Vietnamese sandwich places in Houston. And they put the hard money to work because they couldn't get the hard money with the other groups of people. So they put the hard money with the black folks. And if y'all didn't finish them flips in time, y'all didn't sell them in time, the Vietnamese people was the owner of it at the end of the day. Now, if you're in Austin, it's the Koreans and it's the Chinese. Chinatown roll deep here. Chinatown owns a lot of stuff. Chinatown owns about 15, 20 buildings downtown. They're not Chinatown buildings. They're just regular buildings. That's who does a lot of the hard money here. There's one lady, I've said her name a million times on this channel, Hard Money Kelly. White lady. I'm just telling y'all, like, she has a very regular Instagram. Her with her kids and her husband just walk around, softball game, park. The people that's really rolling it, they rolling it. Because what are we? We're the end product, right? We're running around wholesaling all the grandma's houses in the urban areas, in the small areas, right? Downtown where people want to be. Then we up there, we don't think high enough like, oh, I got this land lot. I can build something, keep it, and I would have 50% equity. I'd be a millionaire off this little corner lot if I build something, right? Maybe I just don't know the steps. I don't have enough cash flow. So what we end up doing is flipping or fix and flip. We're on a compressed time. We got to get in and out of there. We're using all these contractors. So the contractor getting paid, everybody getting paid. You getting some money, but you're not getting the hard money people money. You're not getting, which is basically a loan shark loan, to be honest with you. You're not getting that type of money. The builders are getting the big money, right? They're doing 100 to 250,000 every time they sell a house, depending on the house, depending on the size of the house. The people who are keeping the people that I see in this one particular space, they'll buy up a bunch of, small apartments, right? They'll do 10 units, 16 units, 12. And most people say, oh, ain't no money in that. It ain't no money in that if you know what you're doing, if you're not self-managing, if you're not having all the small units under one management company, for sure. But that's why when people are like, I'm getting out of real estate. No, you're getting out of the low end of the real estate. But let me keep it moving.
So to hear correctly what you're saying, it's like all of the different ways that the things that had value, every time they increase in value, corporations or the government take those things over.
Well, they take it over because they knew that was our ticket to building wealth. People got rich off of the gold rush. People got rich off of the oil, the movie There Will Be Blood. We got rich. Our people got rich off of real estate. And they said, damn,
Now
we just got to take it.
And it's funny because I'm looking at this article, a recent article that says there was a study by Georgia State University researchers, and they found that 3 corporations own more than 19,000 homes in Atlanta's 5 metro counties, right? And so they say that Atlanta has more of these properties than the next couple of metros combined, right? And so what it's sounding like, right? So you think 3 corporations, why do the corporations own 19,000 homes, right? And to your
Just Atlanta.
So I'm just talking Metro Atlanta. And to your point, it's like, all right, bet I'm gonna buy these homes, right? I'm gonna buy these homes. If I'm a corporation, I'm gonna buy these homes at a price that I know that's gonna be competitive, that a regular seller can't really compete with me. I'm gonna give them above average, but like just like the regular investor, if you will, they're looking at maybe 5-10 years down the line, while the corporation is probably looking 20 years down the line.
They're not selling.
And you think about it, it's almost like a monopoly, if you will, right? Because I want to say, I think it was Chase or BlackRock bought 100,000
Throughout the United States, last 5 years, they bought over 300,000 homes. And that's in the warm climates.
Right.
They didn't go to the cold climates yet. And I tell people, you know, my thing is this. They didn't go to the cold climates yet because we didn't start doing renovations and fixing them yet. Like once we start fixing up Atlanta, Memphis, LA, Comptons, Bed-Stuy, and we went renovating all these neighborhoods, they said, thank you. I got it from here, yay. And now look, Detroit, Chicago, all these areas, we're renovating them. Don't you think they're going to come up there and go, thank you. We're going to buy from all of y'all who said we're going to fix up the block.
Listen, ooh, I'm about to play that again. I don't think y'all understand what man just told y'all. We are the people doing the fix in the hood. We just need to sell real quick to get some money. Now, listen, why do you think they bought 19,000 houses in Houston, in Atlanta? Anybody in here in Atlanta? You know, I know Dave in here in Atlanta, but who else is in here in Atlanta? Let's really, really hit it up. Let's really talk about it. There are people from New York who moved from New York to Atlanta over 25 years ago, and they didn't buy. You have to actually value the area. Right? There was a woman I met here at the race car, the NASCAR thing I went to, and she was from New York. And she was saying how she had to move further out. And I was like, oh, where you moving further? Where you buying another house? Oh, I've never bought. I said, well, how long you been down here? She's been down here in Austin 20 years. She's living out in the middle of the sticks where she was telling me shit. And I was like, you still ain't bought? She's like, I know. I don't even know why I came down here from New York and didn't buy something. I came down here so long ago. And she has a high paid. I mean, she's highly paid. There's really no reason. Could have bought something years ago, just wasn't thinking. And I'm like, you gonna go live out past Beauticow when you originally came to Austin 20 years ago, and you could have got a house for $60K, and it would have been worth $500,000 by now. What are you talking about? Right? So this is why when people act like, oh, New Yorkers are so they hip, they fresh, they got all the time, they're thinking. No, they're not. They're just trying to get out of New York to get some cheap rent so they keep flying back and forth to New York in the summers and stun on their cousins. Stop giving New Yorkers this like they're so smart, they're cutting above the rest. They're not, right? And I already told y'all the reason I got my duplex is because a Swedish company owns 100 at any given time. That Swedish company owns 100 to 120 duplexes in Cleveland or other parts of Ohio. Okay. And what they do is they when the deferred maintenance, essentially what it is, when the deferred maintenance gets so bad, they do a calculation of like how much would it cost to repair this place. If it costs 30 to 40 grand, they let the house go. So when you're thinking, oh, these slum landlords, it's not even us. It's not even Americans. It's foreign companies owning these properties, letting them run down to the crap, right? And then here you go. Yeah, we'll sell it now. We'll sell it to a wholesaler. We don't care. Same thing happens in parts of the Southeast, right? Again, you know, these companies are going to own these houses for the next 10, 15 years. By the time they sell them in Atlanta, those houses are going to be considered what? Old. They're going to have deferred maintenance. They're going to have issues because they're going to do patchwork. They're going to do patchwork. Okay, again, I keep telling y'all, they're going to have y'all living in Macon. They're going to have y'all living in Macon. When people talk about, oh, Detroit, I'm like, I've been in that market. People move Southeast because it's warm. They're getting older. They need to be able to move in and out of jobs. And the houses are cheap. Don't lose track when you move south. Right? Like literally, I've watched one couple have a house in California, sell the house in California. Like they went out to the edges of California to buy the house. Then when he lost his job, sold that house. It went up $200,000 in value. Went to Utah. Now they're getting ready to sell that house in Utah and come to Texas. They're going to be in the Dallas area. And I was like, every time they've moved or sold houses, they've gained like $200,000 in equity from the house. They always buy in a new construction neighborhood right around the early part of it and go. There's 2 or 3 guys like Will Motivation Cars. He's buying up in Florida right now. Y'all got to pay. Don't come south and appreciate like, man, I just want to live downtown in a penthouse. That's cool and all, but make sure you buy something. I don't know what to tell y'all. I mean, it's up to y'all. I mean, it'd be easier to build, but I mean, you got to be focused on buying land. It's about to be the 90s out here. Y'all not ready. If you're enjoying the content, drop a 1 in the comments, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up. We got some more on this video. Let me go ahead and wrap it up. Play a little bit back, just a little bit, just a little bit. Here we go.
Right. They didn't go to the cold climates yet. And I tell people, you know, my thing is this: they didn't go to the cold climates yet because we didn't start doing renovations and fixing them yet. Like once we start fixing up Atlanta, Memphis, LA, Compton's, Bed-Stuy, and we went renovating all these neighborhoods, they said, "Thank you, I got it from here, yay." And now look, Detroit, Chicago, all these areas, we're renovating them. Don't you think they're gonna come up there and go, "Thank you, we're gonna buy from all of y'all who said we're gonna fix up the blocks," and then they're gonna take those. See what I mean? Because that's that thing, bro. When you're able to cut people's legs off and stop them from owning, and you gotta think, it's not even us, it's our kids' kids. They are being trained to be renters. We grew up, we were groomed by our parents about, you better go own something. You better go own something. Because I heard my dad say it, and I went and bought something. But now you got kids now who parents are literally renters, and now they're not talking to them about renting. They're talking about how real estate's renting. So what he's gonna do? Rent. He drive around, or he see signs that say for lease. He's gonna.
Exactly. When people try to tell me they're saving money renting, they're putting all this money aside because they're renting, they're investing because they're renting. It's a lie. We know it's a lie. They know it's a lie. The data doesn't support it. The data say the average renter has less than $5,000 saved up in assets or investments. The average homeowner has 140,000. Once you get the control over your environment, and there are friends I have who are here in Austin, they live in Round Rock. Their mortgage is still $1,000 because they bought their house in 2018. At that point, it's up to you. At that point, it's up to you how you want to invest, how you want to move. It's up to you because you lock down the first part of the jigsaw puzzle. If you notice right now, there's a trend of young Black people talking about Chicago, Ohio. What's that other city? They ain't talking about a trend much. They're talking about Ohio, Chicago, and somewhere else. Where's that other city I'm thinking of? Dang. But they always talk about St. Louis. Right, and that's been St. Louis been a lick forever and ever and ever, and it's dead. It's dead as a doorknob. Every time I go there, I'm like, ugh, dead as a doorknob. This is a dead city. This is dead money sitting around doing nothing all day. But that's what people want to do. It's full of Chicago people down there sitting around doing nothing because the rent's so cheap. There's no motivation to do anything. So when you see these young people, and I respect them, I know what they're doing. They're trying to hustle. They're like, hey, you can get cheap rentals here. You can flip properties cheap here. You can buy up a bunch of properties in South Chicago and all stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to share problems though. You buying or you holding? I hope they hold. That's my wish for them. That is my wish for them. Because if you look at the Wrigley Stadium, them folks over there, them $1 million properties. It's crazy. If you want to build new construction up there in Chicago, it's a pretty penny. So I've looked, I've checked it out. But anyway, let me keep it pushing. But this is a real conversation about if when I meet adults who it's their first time having a house and they're trying to figure out how to fix things and do things. Again, this is the conversation about dads and uncles, right? A lot of people used to have dads and uncles who used to fix things, who knew how to fix things. You're dealing with a generation of people who uncles don't know how to fix anything. They asking for the internet. They asking for the YouTube University. Why don't your uncles know how to fix anything? Because they've been renting. Because they've been renting. They don't know how to fix anything because they haven't had to. They call the front office. Help me, front office, help me. Nah, you a man. There's literally a guy on YouTube. And this is why y'all be like, Erica, you so harsh. Nah, baby. I see how some of these white people and these other people talk to y'all. Y'all got to stop lying on me. This one dude tomorrow, be a man. That's what his whole YouTube in his shorts are saying, be a man. Let me show you how to be a man. And he just fixed stuff. Every video, he's just fixing stuff. And he's like, let me show you how to be a man. And it's so funny to me because it's like, it's insulting, but I get where he's going. He's like, you don't know how to fix stuff? You don't know how to fix a door? You don't know how to do this? Let me show you how to be a man. Fix this. And it's wow. It's real wow. Let me finish this and I'm going to finish our comments.
Become a renter. Yeah. And once you control them and have them stuck, they have communities now, which I'll look this up, where they have forever leases, just whole communities built around leasing.
And it's funny because, so a couple of things, right? We'll unpack because number one, this thought process around, people, talking about like real estate. If I hear you correctly, the fix and flips are not even really helping us for real, right? So if you out here, saying, hey, fix and flip, fix and flip, fix and flip, you have actually an asset that's probably worth something. You're putting the money into that asset, making it nice. You're selling it to an investor who's probably going to give you some money. So you're going to make money one time on the short term. But the truth of the matter is that now you're taking that inventory is never
It's never coming back.
never coming back.
It's never coming back. So I admire everybody who does the fix and flips, right? But my thing is, you just admit it. Like, you're in this for capitalism. You're not gonna buy a house and then order say, you know what, I'm gonna take a 50K loss on it. Like, I did 2 posts where I sold 2 of my property. I sold one to a young student, just got her a loan in Atlanta. I think it was called Acorn or Hope or something like that. One of them programs. And I did another one in I think Detroit. I said I'm selling 2 properties and I'm gonna break even, but I'm giving those to a family. I'm giving them to somebody because I'm gonna just do my part. I made enough bread.
Yeah.
Okay. I salute that, brother. Hopefully I can get him on the channel. If I can't, it is what it is. I tried. There's a long list of people who, as we kind of pivot and we talk to them, and before we go on vacation, because we're going to be gone this summer, baby. We're living soft lives. Okay. It's a lot of good information I really want y'all to hear and prepare yourself for. So Berkshire Hathaway calling homeowners offering 10 to 20% overpriced. DMV is always going to be jumping. Government officials. And Houston, the Vietnamese are frying wings. I believe it. I'm gonna come back to your $20 super chat. Thank you for super chat. I'm gonna come back to it. They're gonna fight. I mean, it's a fight, period. It's just, you literally have a billionaire who bought a basketball team so she could orchestrate bringing gambling to Texas. And she's getting pushed back. She's a billionaire. She done bought the Dallas Mavericks, and she's running around trying to convince senior citizens in east part of Texas, hey, we should have gambling. I mean, it's insane. But thank you for your $20 super chat. Yep. Atlanta inside the Beltline will be unaffordable soon. Prices will be like Atlanta, Miami. They're pushing folks out up to the burbs. Man, they pushing y'all out to Macon. Y'all gonna be in Conyers. Y'all gonna be Alpharetta. Y'all gonna be in Kennesaw. I know people who bought property in Kennesaw for $185. They sold it for $450. I don't think y'all paying attention. They bought property in Kennesaw for $185. They're selling it for $450. Atlanta been good to y'all. Atlanta been good to y'all people down there. And y'all just abuse it. Shame on y'all. This one YouTube brother in Charlotte has lived here and off and on for 10 years, still complaining about the cost of living. Oh my God, yes. I see him all the time. He's depressing. But still re-upping that lease every year. I mean, Charlotte, I'm telling y'all, I lived in Noda District. If you know what Noda is, before I came to Texas, I was in Charlotte for 6 months. I was over there doing a little thing too, working with one of my friend's companies, but we were in our friend's house. He ran out of money flipping the house. So we was just staying in this half-flipped house. It was ghetto, y'all. It was ghetto. Half-flipped house. It's kind of ghetto. My other friends walking to the bus. I'm like, girl, don't be down there with them ghetto people. They gonna grab you. She won't scared of nothing. I'm going to get on the bus because the bus is over here. And I'm like, you go ahead and do what you do. I'm not riding that bus. I'm gonna drive my car. And so what I would do is I was there long enough to go, hey, aunt, uncles, my mom, I drove around the corner. I saw these duplexes for $175, $150. And then there was one guy selling one side for $75. And I kept saying, what do y'all think? I'm like, oh, it's so dirty over here. So hood. Ugh. In the Noda district now. In the Noda district. This is 2011 when I was doing this. And my uncle was like, we can come down. We can fix it in the weekend. Look, I'm going to come down 3 weekends in a row. Now, my uncle's always doing some kind of project because he's a handyman. So I was like, you're going to be too busy. I'm going to be stuck in a really, in the hood, in a dirty house. Man, that same Noda district duplexes, them are like $600,000. So your girl messed up. Because that was the same time I left to go to Austin the next year, the same time Charlotte and all those other cities were blowing up. They were all blowing up, right? You know, our family's like, well, just, you know, you could just come back here if it's too dangerous. And I was like, that's why I left. I said, I'm either going to Nashville or I'm going to go to Austin, flipping this coin because I got to get further away from y'all because the mindset is, well, just stay where it's safe. Don't try new things. Do this. You got to really fight the what your family thinks is important. The window opportunity to buy low and hold these properties in Atlanta closed. Average Atlanta house is like $450 now. Let me tell you, and it's going to be higher. It's going to be higher. They're going to bring more engineers there. They're going to focus on getting more engineers, more tech people there. I'm telling you, I've been to too many conferences. That's all they talk about is how they're going to build out that Georgia Tech corridor. And I'm like, Georgia Tech corridor? Like they're going to turn that downtown to the Georgia Tech downtown. I think y'all think I'm joking, but I'm telling you, what I've seen in the conferences for Atlanta in the 30 years y'all have for economic development, it ain't for y'all. It's for tech people. All tech people, all tech all day long. They want to hold a bunch of data down there. They want to control a lot of banking because everybody's like, oh, Miami for the banking. I'm like, they need a halfway point. It's Atlanta. Blacks are being priced out of Atlanta, especially north side of the city. It's the same with Dallas. North side of Dallas is all the, like if you're in Richardson now, you can still get in pretty cheaply. But north side of Dallas is all their property values are going up. Even old goofy boy that claims everything's going to crash, he even talked about North Dallas. North Dallas is going up and Southeast Dallas is going down. Why? Who's down there? We down there. Californians are buying a Pensacola Mobile area. You know, you got to get them rednecks out of there. You got to get them out of there first. Destin's nice, though. Yo, Douglasville, this is the crazy part. Jonesboro's a good one, too. People are sleeping on that one. But Douglasville, my cousin had a house with her husband. He down there, the cut up. He cutting up. So the judge was like, now she got that house for $100,000, $110,000. I'm talking about 2 decks, a deck up top, a deck on the bottom, brand new. The basement hadn't even been finished. The downstairs hadn't been completely finished. And they wanted a divorce. And the judge was like, can you refinance the house and get his name off? Or can you bring 80K in here and give it to him? You know, because he was at the time the person who made more money. And my cousin was like, 80K, where am I get that from? Now, my mom, all my cousins, everybody had just came back from Iraq and we had already started spending the money. And we're like, if you'd have told us he was acting crazy and trying to divorce you, we could have gave you 80K and kept that house. Because now in Douglasville, that same house in Douglasville, I know it's 450. I know it's 450. I could probably go pull up her address, but I can pull it up on the internet while y'all looking. But I'm telling you, that, I mean, she, to this day, she'd be like, that was my house. I mean, to this day, she'd be like, that was my house, y'all. And I'd be like, you were ahead of the trend way before. When Villa Rica is expensive, it's a problem. All them places around DC exploding. Frederick, Arlington, Silver Springs. Yes, I have a friend staying in Silver Springs. Rockville, all of it. It's real high priced. It's really high priced. Did I miss? I did. I missed something. I know I did. If you got money, I recommend you buy. But if you bought years ago, Chef's Kiss, for sure. Greg Cardone says not to buy a house. The amount of renting to black people. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When people who are renting be like, Greg Cardone said don't buy no house, I'd be like, but everybody, you know, the number one complaint among most people is their housing costs. That's why I don't listen to people when they say stupid stuff like that. I live in Buckhead, Atlanta. I rent. I never bought due to having $150,000 in student loans. Your debt to income was crazy, but Orlando. No, I mean I could ask it, but what was your annual income you were making a year? You know, did you defer them for 10 years? Did you defer the student loans for a long time? You know, the truth is, even with big student loans, if you go teach in a low income school area for 3 years, they'll forgive like almost $80,000 student loans. So, I mean, there's ways around it. St. Louis has cheap housing and it also has nothing going on there. No economy. And the people that are there running the place want it that way. Once they got de-industrialized, they don't care. They want a lot of y'all to leave. Leave them folks over there causing drama. They want y'all up out of there. If you knew how many people I knew from bigger cities that live in St. Louis just because it's cheap, it's crazy. YouTube has helped me so much with DIY over the past 4 years. The average person is ready to throw in a towel after one leak or HVAC failure. This is how they stay locked out. Well, facts. If you look at a house as your nest egg, as your golden goose, as this wealth you have to protect, you would protect it. The way people run around washing these cars, keeping these, oh, my car, that's not wealth. Your house is. My mortgage, 2003 to 2015 in Tomball, Texas, was never more expensive than my 1-bedroom apartment near Greens Point and Guns Point. Man, Tomball, Texas right now is going through a growth explosion. Man, I saw houses for $200,000 in Tomball. New construction, $285, $299. I'm like, you're going to see Tomball in the news after a while. Oh, I know. And he's got crazy dreadlocks. It's so wow. He's always complaining and there's like that doom, like, oh my God, all this stuff. You got to leave sometime. Notice now the gold ticket. We used to own a duplex that was just 25 years ago. Duplexes were sold, tore down, new builds are 600 plus. Yep. I remember Denton was the country. Man, you live out in Denton? That's crazy. New Jersey has been a circus. New Jersey been a mess. I work in Jonesboro. It's together. Well, this is the problem. Like, I'm not saying, I always tell people, if you're going to buy something, it's a 2-year move on, right? You move there for 2 years. I saw literally condos in Jonesboro for $118,000. Where are you going to find that? You stay there a year and a half to just satisfy your mortgage requirements and move and rent it out. I mean, you got to make a decision. I'm working in Uptown Dallas next couple weeks. Very nice out here for sure. Folks need to wake up. Dallas. Yep. What about Denton? It's nothing in particular. We ain't missing nothing. They call it jerk. You can still get housing out of Dallas GA for a fair price. Throwback Cap, Larry Johnson from Dallas, one of my favorite players. Had a friend in property near Winthrop for sure. If you defer your student loans plus pay the interest during deferment. I thought I couldn't put or buy a house because of my student loans too, but the mortgage is based only on the minimum monthly payment. So I was able to still get a house. Facts. Would you recommend buying a rental property or a small franchise first? It depends on that's a tough one. It depends on your goals. The rental property is going to be less investment up front. And you just got to work on getting your systems down. The franchise is always going to cost more money. Like, I don't think y'all understand, like, a lot of franchises require you have like $200,000, $300,000 in liquid cash or credit cards, or be able to get credit to be able to be fundable, right? I wanted to own a Hot Works. I was like, how much money? It's hard to get a super cheap franchise, but once you get it, I mean, you're going to have an easier time getting funded for things. But it's not cheap. Franchises aren't cheap. I know people think they are, but they're not. 10 years going to pass either way. That's what I loved about. I said, Dion, you can come back on anytime, because I'm telling you, like, you'll look up and 10 years will pass and we'll still be having the same conversation. That's why I said, once I hit this 10-year mark with YouTube, I was like, all right, I've had this conversation with y'all long enough. It's time to pivot. I've marketed that niche to death. Enjoy. Y'all can have it. I'm good. And I'm going to sell on out the door. If I would have bought with a student loan, then you could have sold now and made enough to pay them off. Even if you bought, listen, you already know. East Lake used to be the hood. Now it's turned to the suburbs. You already know. But that's most places. That's how most places are going to be. So listen, that's all I have for y'all today. I'm not keeping y'all here too much longer. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel, being here, all that good stuff. Oh, Lord, we had an hour time? Yeah. All right. So look, you guys, this is your girl, Erica, Class Come Loud. Enjoy your Friday. Love being on here. Love giving y'all a great show. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you do. Again, you got to make a decision. We going back to the 90s. I know people don't want to hear that, but there's going to be, do you have skill or do you not? Do you live on this side of town or do you not? You're going to start noticing, definitely noticing this trend in a minute. You're going to start noticing, be like, man, like, people really struggling. New cars, but struggling. I was just trying to buy in Riverdale and Macon. They were pinned in within a week. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. My screen is acting crazy. Hold on, y'all. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's tripping now. All right, you guys, have a good day. I think my thing is it'll cut up here.
This is David W. Williams, and I'm giving a testimony to Erica Williams and her team. Because of the advertising relationship that we were able to develop, my company had the best month in the month of November for the whole year of 2024. And I'm talking about our sales were 3 or 4 times any other month during that particular year. And I know it's because of the relationship that I had with Erica and how she worked with me as an advertising partner. So now here's the benefit of working with her and her team. She's going to communicate to you what you're going to get as a result of working with her. She's going to over deliver on her value that she's providing, right? And she's not going to do a one-off deal. She's going to really invest in your success because she's really invested in making sure that you're going to get a success story from working with her as an advertising partner. So if you're looking to drive more sales, you're looking to bring in more leads, and you're also looking to get more exposure to what you're doing, you want to reach out to Erica and ask her, can I advertise with you?